Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and on today's show, I break down the Texans player that the entire fan base is split on. I think everybody that I've talked to, everybody that I've asked about this player, either you think he's going to have a big year with the Texans or you think he's already washed. And you didn't guess who that player is already? It's wide receiver Christian Kirk. The Texans traded for him at the beginning of free agency from the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were actually going to release him. Then the Texans went ahead and just sent over a late-round pick for Kirk's services. But a lot of articles, a lot of people talking in both directions, saying that it's a good signing or a good move by the Texans getting Christian Kirk, adding him to the wide receiver room. And a lot of people are thinking, he's washed. I don't know why the Texans did that, and he's not going to have a big impact. So we'll start off today's show with a simple question. This is actually going to be the only question I ask you in today's video, because I think this is going to prove how split the fan base actually is on Christian Kirk. Give me a yes, give me a no. Will Christian Kirk have a major impact for Houston in 2025? If you get hit with the YouTube ad break here, all good. Scroll on down and give me your answer. And be honest. Let me know. Do you think Kirk will have a big impact for the Texans this season? My take on this is I actually think he will. I think he will surprise a lot of Texans fans this season. He's proved a lot to this coaching staff and his teammates in a short amount of time already. The only thing is he going to be healthy? When he's healthy, he's a really good target. But that is the key word, when he is healthy, because over the past couple of seasons, that hasn't been the case. We'll get into that later on in the program. But whenever my wife asks me, do you want the good news or the bad news first? I always go with the good news. So we're going to start with the good reports around Christian Kirk, and then I'll get into the more troubling stuff on the back end of this episode. So first, Sideline Sarah, if you're not following her on X, I don't know what you're doing. Great content creator, puts a lot of good stuff out there on X. She put out a clip of Deshaun Jackson talking on the Green Light podcast with Chris Long, and he was asked, what wide receiver does he watch that doesn't get enough credit and is next up this year, somebody who might have a breakout season? And his answer was actually Christian Kirk. This is what he had to say. I like Christian Kirk's game, man. I don't think a lot of people really realize how fast he is, and he can run routes. So if I would say somebody up and coming with routes and taking the next step, I think it would be Christian. And I mean, when a former player in the NFL is highlighting somebody on your team, somebody who actually played that same position, I would take notice. I would listen a little bit, closely to that and saying, hey, somebody who was a really good receiver in the NFL is highlighting this guy. Maybe he does have something that we're not all seeing, or maybe can prove a little bit more that Texans fans are a little doubtful on him right now. Also, his teammates, as I mentioned, very impressed with him from the early stages. This is Kalen Bullock on Christian Kirk. Shout out to my guy Stressens on X. Another great follow. If you're not following him on X, what are you doing if you're a Texans fan? This is what Kalen Bullock had to say on Kirk. First thing I noticed, his hands. He's got real strong hands, great routes. Expect on that slot demon. That's what we call him, a slot demon. And Nico Collins backed this up as well. He said he's a slot magician, slot magic. He in the slot going crazy. So as you've seen, a lot of people around the Texans, his teammates included, are really hyped about Christian Kirk this season. And that gives me a lot of promise as a Texans fan, as somebody who, obviously was going to get released by his team this offseason. The Texans pick up his contract, pick him up for this season, and the move was, kind of meh. A lot of people were 50-50 on the Texans adding Christian Kirk. I was really excited. A lot of fans, not so much. But it's not just them. A lot of people are also realizing it who are on the sidelines, a lot of reporters as well. Another great reporter, Jonathan Alexander of the Houston Chronicle, had this to say when mentioning Texans X factors going into this season. Based on what we saw during the offseason, I think it's between wide receiver Christian Kirk and guard Laken Tomlinson on offense. Kirk must stay healthy, but he's quick and has great hands. Quarterback C.J. Stroud and Kirk have already developed a solid connection, and I think he'll be an X factor this season. So we have a former player, we have his current teammates, and we have reporters all kind of chiming in saying, Christian Kirk is looking fantastic this offseason. And I think if you have that many people telling you somebody's good, should probably listen, right? The only thing, though, and as Jonathan Alexander mentioned, I talked about it in the very top of the show, health. Is Christian Kirk going to be able to stay healthy during the 2025 season? And I'll get into that and some reasons why you might have to be concerned about Christian Kirk on this Texans team for the 2025 NFL season. Before we get that, I have a great deal for y'all folks at home. I was going through our friend over at Fanatics. I was going through all the Texans gear they had. I was looking at the sale items. I love a good bargain. And this actually came up. These Texans hoodies, and I know it's summertime. It's hot outside. You're not going to wear this right now. Think for the future. This hoodie, normally $69, is only $27 right now. If you go to chatsports.com/HOU massive sale, get these while they're in stock. They have it in the navy, the gray, and the red. Sizes are limited, and once they sell out, that's all. So get them while the getting's good. Go check it out right now, and I promise you this. You will not find a better deal on the internet than this hoodie right now. I picked it out specifically for you guys. This link will be in the comment section and description of today's video. Once again, go check it out. chatsports.com/HOU massive sale. Now, when we look at Christian Kirk's stats over the last 4 seasons, one thing jumps off the page, and it is GP. That stands for games played in 2021, 2022. Impressive numbers, right? Almost 1,000 yards in 2021. Eclipsed that mark in 2022. Pretty good, numbers. Got in the end zone, 8 touchdowns in 2022. Not bad numbers in 23 and 24 considering how many games he played, but that's the problem. He only played 12 in 2023, only played 8 games in 2024. When he's on the field, he's good, but he hasn't been on the field the past 2 seasons. And funny enough, I was actually kind of wanted to hype up Christian Kirk. This was originally just going to be a hype piece around him, but I saw some negativity coming his way as well. I've seen it from Texans fans and also other outlets like Bleacher Report. They put out an article saying the worst contract at every position in the entire National Football League. And at wide receiver, they named Christian Kirk. This is what they had to say. At first, it appeared to be money well spent. His first season in Jacksonville was the best of his career. He caught 84 passes for 1,108 yards and 8 scores that year. All were career highs. The problem is the 28-year-old has just 1,166 yards in the past 2 seasons combined, and he has missed 14 games over the past 2 seasons, including 9 a year ago after breaking his collarbone. That the Jaguars essentially gave the 2018 second rounder to the Texans just to be rid of his contract tells you all you need to know about how the past couple of years have gone. And when Kirk hits free agency again next year, the market for his services is going to be far different than when he joined the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I will admit, for Bleacher Report's sake, Christian Kirk, whenever he signed that deal with the Jags, I don't think anybody thought it was a good contract. I think everybody was like, wholly overpay when the Jags backed up the Brinks trucks for Christian Kirk. And maybe, $18 million a year or $18 million for this year isn't the best bargain. But if he's playing as well as, his teammates, the coaching staff, everybody around this organization is saying that he's playing right now, maybe it is worth it. Because you see wide receiver contracts all over the NFL, and these guys are getting paid upwards of $30 million. It also helps that you have maybe one of the best bargain contracts at that position with Nico Collins, who's making under $25 million a year and is arguably a top 10, top 5 receiver in the National Football League. You also have 2 guys on rookie contracts that might help out that as well in this wide receiver room in Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll. So I know the jury's still out on Christian Kirk. And the good news is we only have him on a 1-year deal, right? If he doesn't pan out this season, it's okay. We kind of wash, rinse, and repeat going into next year. But at the same token, if he is really good this year, maybe he takes a hometown discount to stay in Houston. He did play for Texas A&M, those Aggies up in College Station. So maybe he wants to stay in Houston. Maybe he wants to make Houston his team moving forward. Either way, I think it's a win-win for the Texans with Christian Kirk. I think he will surprise a lot of people this year, and if he's able to stay healthy, the combination of him, Nico Collins, and the rookie wide receivers, I think is going to be lethal for the rest of the National Football League. That's all I have for you on today's show, folks. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, you can do so at Jeremy Chuggs. My DMs are always open, and if you made it to the end of the video, I must be doing something right. So go down and hit that subscribe button for free Texans content all year long.